you want me to go up and give them a heads up?
Do you want to do ours then?
We'll just do ours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing?
County commissioners.
There's some smaller
Well, we
ones
are
that you can lump out pretty
I
quick
want to
until
stay
it comes
exactly
back.
the same sort of math.
I don't want to get like a tax on it.
If that's the average and we split it over 2 years.
But we got to worry about this. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this to help the county. That's the way I feel. I don't need. If you want to, we can raise it up. I don't care. But
I don't care.
I thought you guys already decided before you was going to go 2%. And I said, leave mine the same.
Yeah, we did say that last summer.
There you go. So that's what you figured on, so that's what you want. I'd do it, leave mine the same.
Do you want to do a cost of living increase?
No, I want mine to stay exactly what the hell it is right now.
Okay.
Okay.
So you okay with
Social
just
Security?
3% for you and I, and Ed says stay where he's at.
Yeah, I
Exactly
did
the same.
But for the job description in the future, you guys moving to the
We will have to have-
classification and,
Right.
okay,
Well, they're elected.
right,
So the way the elected one is year 1 and year 2 and year 3 and 4 and then re-elected.
okay,
But it's the same number. So
Right.
for the
I
commissioner's
think we
case.
Gotcha.
could do the five classification, like she was saying. I mean,
I think for elected,
For-
just have a straight number is
good.
but
Yeah. Because an elected position is different than an appointed position.
absolutely.
So, but, you know, I think if one commissioner gets a 3%, I think they all ought to get a 3%. I don't think there should be any discrimination that way.
Well, he's worried about Social Security going over his limit.
and if that's the case, don't bump me up 3% either. I'm not in it for the money. So, if that be the case.
Capers, I think, increased their rate. I have to go back and look at the email. But as far as Capers is concerned, I think they bumped that up to a higher level. Because you were okay.
Well, I got my paperwork in the mail yesterday. I can tell you what the new limit is.
Social Security.
Yeah, because that's what pays my bills.
Okay.
Social Security is the reason that Social Security doesn't pay any. That's what happens after 40 years.
So 3% on 2 of them.
That's what they decided the budget to, so that's good with them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to, I think I hear Cody. There he is. Ready for you, buddy.
Okay.
All right.
Just match we stay in the same rate.
I believe, Jim, weren't we going to kind of, because we did that raise across the
Yeah,
board.
we're good. I just would like some clarification on holiday and overtime.
Okay, we'll address that here in a minute. Okay, Cody.
First of all, I was just going to let you get it. No, I do have, I don't know if I've ever submitted them. They've been submitted downstairs, but I do have duties, responsibilities is what I call it, the same thing as a job description. I can get those for you guys, so you guys can review them at any time. Some of them are pretty lengthy, but just want to let you guys know that.
You're kind of above the average on, are you right? Yeah, listed.
Yeah, on my page is,
Are you fine with that?
yeah, I'm fine with that on my
Because
salary.
when you get re-elected, you'll be above average.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go down.
Okay. Under sheriff,
Under sheriff, I'm trying to find him on this.
I've got 34,905 for the average, and we're right now at 35. Did you get talking about that?
No, we said we were going to, as temporarily as hiring him
Okay.
and move our putting him to that promotion. We were going to start him at the low level until we got to the new year, and I was going to evaluate his performance in that position and recommend whether I wanted to bump him up.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm going to ask.
okay, so we stay with that.
So,
But I do need to redo this to a 5
Where-
level.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Where is the compatibility study on the undersheriff?
You have to,
It's, yeah, it's a separate one for sheriffs
Is that
and
it?
I got the dispatch stuff, I think, is what I got.
This is under sheriff, so.
Okay. So,
Right, this is sheriff, this is not dispatch.
yeah.
That's
yeah,
two different
yeah, for
departments.
some reason I grabbed the one that said dispatch. Okay. So on the undersheriff, I guess, so we're right in line with the compatibility study of counties of our size.
Right.
Correct. Okay. And I'm fine, like I said, I'm gonna ask for him to move to classification 2 for 2000, the next year, okay, 2016. But, and we're fine there. So,
Okay, the deputy sheriffs.
deputy sheriffs,
And that's where we probably have an inconsistency.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd go with the part-time people.
Is Carol, is she considered,
No, she's got her own classification.
do you consider her office manager
Yes,
or,
yes, I think it's.
but she can also serve as a
Yes,
deputy
she-
as well,
She can serve as a deputy as well,
if need be?
if need be.
Okay, because I wasn't sure.
And she does, and there's a lot of forms that she has to file that only a law enforcement officer can file, and that's why she has the title of, and it's gone to the academy. So she doesn't have to chase somebody around to go sign this or go do that. She can just take care of it then. Like I said, back to the deputy. We average 32, 72, 25. My only problem with this on a deputy scale is, as I've told you guys before, when you compare us to counties with the same population level, you get these salaries that average out to the 32 or 72. But when you compare us to workload in criminal cases reported to the FBI on their standards, we're way ahead. The only county sheriff's office that had more reportable cases to the FBI in Northwest Kansas in the last reportable year, which is only 2014 is all the number goes to, was Thomas County Sheriff's Office. So we're even reporting more cases to the FBI than the Sherman County Sheriff's Office. I think it's kind of a little unfair to the deputy out in the field to compare them based off of population and not taking account a little bit on the workload. Like I said, if you compare our reportable numbers to Sheridan County, and I've got that map downstairs still on the bulletin board to go look at, you'll see there's a dramatic difference between workload in the deputy being in Warren County and our county. And I want that to be considered a little bit as well.
Did you raise your budget up for like 60%? What'd you raise?
I did not. I think I did at 3% when I did my budget request. I think I probably have the money in there to do.
You will because of the
Yeah.
overtime that
Yeah.
you've plugged in.
Yeah, so I'll have the money in my budget to do the 5 or 6%. I was kind of hoping on the deputies to do a 6% increase across the board
I'm good
on the
with 6%.
classifications.
You ready for that, Rick?
Yes, I am. So basically, if we go through here and we go 6%, whereas we're above the average, we can kick that to 5 classification. Are you wanting the 339073 to be the pay scale for the 5th classification?
Actually, right now I don't have anybody that would fit the classification. I would like to leave a top end classification. That's the higher, the higher one, reserved for somebody. If I have somebody that stays here, that I feel that can be promoted to a position that you call classification 5, or I call it investigator or something. Investigators traditionally get paid more than the patrol deputy. I'd like to leave that top end position available for a 5-year veteran of the sheriff's office that earns a new rank. You guys have classifications. We have them by rank in our office.
If we get this up to classification 5, if we go 6%, 6% on each scale, where do you want this top number to be at? Because if we go here and we leave this the same, we take these numbers and kind of divide them up by,
I know this sounds a little weird or a little out of line, But the classification 3, the current classification 3, I'd like to have at classification 4. And that would give me the classification 5, which, like I said, right now I have nobody who qualifies for a position that in the future could be used. That classification 5 can be used for, like I said, somebody who's been here for 5 years or longer that meets the training requirements and the job description of a sergeant or investigator. So, and I don't know how to derive the numbers from the new classification 5 number.
Well, I would probably just take the 6%, and I would figure the 6% increase for each one of those classifications, and then where you want your employees to be, you can put them wherever you feel is appropriate as a department head.
Yeah, okay.
So if you want to move somebody,
Because
I can type that up and you can look at it, and if you want to move somebody, and when we redo the levels, like you say, the level 5 would be more for a sergeant type person, someone with at least 5 years. We can add that into the revision in the wording down here.
okay.
If you'll work with me on that.
Yeah, I'll work with you. It's just because the thing is, and I guess what I'm trying to say is when you look at these, the comparison study here, there's a nice little line that says reports to. And this is just about deputies because it's got reports to, most of them say the county sergeant or a county sheriff or the undersheriff. But if you look, some of these say reports to a lieutenant, some of them say they report to a sergeant. This is for only the rank. When you look at this classification comparison study that comes in at where we're already at, this is for a deputy. This is for a line officer, the deputy. This does not include a sergeant. This doesn't include a lieutenant. This isn't every employee of the sheriff's office across the board. This is just for your low-ranking deputies. And that's what I'm saying. We gotta leave room in there that
To keep them here.
for growth to keep them there. This is a fine pay scale for a deputy, but we gotta either create a new position and work on that new position. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in the same trap that Road Bridges is having employees that's worked here 15 years, and an employee worked here 3 years, and they're making the same amount of money. So we've got to be able to have either the permission to create this position that nobody qualifies for yet, called sergeant, and create a pay scale just solely based off of that, and just leave deputy alone and do the 6%, with the 3 being the 5, or 3 being the 4, and the sergeant being 5. However easiest for you
Are
guys.
you going to be happy with that if we change the 3 to a 4 and what you were saying? Okay. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
So what class do you want her at?
She's still, until they graduate from the KLTC, they're in class.
Still one.
So after she graduates and completes her field training, I will approach the commissioners about the raise. But,
Okay.
that's the way our policy is written, that you're class 1 until you graduate.
Okay, and what about the office manager? What do you want done with that pay scale?
I again, 6%. She's topped out. She's a class 3 now, anyways.
And you want to turn that to a 4 like we did with the...
Yeah. Or no, yeah, no. The class 3 can be the 5, the top one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because there's not going to be a rank system to that.
And then with 6%.
Yeah.
You guys okay with that? Roger?
6%, yes.
And have it be a classification?
And that'll be
Oh, I'm sorry.
class 5.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Frank's
Part-time. I'm going to move him to classification 1. I'd like to move him to classification 2, part-time.
You guys okay with that?
And I'll do a 6% across the
Are we going to give the part-time 6% across the board? Because here's what I found out, and I guess I'm just being honest, even though it's hurting my department a little bit. When I did a survey of calling other people, and part-time, we're in line with what we're paying part-time guys. It's where we were paying the full-time guys that were out of line.
All right.
If you want to give them a 6% increase on it,
And then keep them as a classification 1?
yeah.
Well, you did with the other part-time employees.
So
We gave them a 6, didn't we?
A 6.
Yeah, but
So-
it's a compatibility question, so I mean, it's You don't need to do the 6% for all part-time if you determine some part-times are
No,
receiving
I
compatible
think,
pay.
I think our part-time pay schedule is adequate with what other departments are paying part-time.
Let's keep it the
I would
same.
just like to move the part-timer like Frank, who's been part-time for several years, up a little.
That's your discretion.
Okay.
We're only here to set the scales,
Yeah.
not to promote.
We haven't approved.
I prefer to stay under the
Okay.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Bruce,
Bruce, part-time.
are you happy with where
I'm
you're at?
happy with that.
Okay.
All right.
All right, sir.
All right. Need anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna go back upstairs. Anytime you guys,
No.
if you guys want me just to make a copy of this, I will.
We have a package here called dispatch. Are we going to stay with what we have, or do you want to look at it?
I'd like to look at it just to see it, but with the significant raise that they received this year, and talking to other counties, I believe that we're competitive again with other counties. So,
And these were just redone when you split out that director salary.
I just wanted clarification on holiday pay,
Okay.
how we're figuring holidays for the dispatchers. We work 24 hours, so the dispatcher that works from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., is he just getting holiday pay from midnight to 7 a.m. on an actual holiday? Or, I think in the past, if the shifts overlap, they give them the whole 12 hours. And if they didn't work at all, they just got 8 hours of holiday pay. I just need some clarification on
Okay.
that.
I don't know if this is a good question for the county attorney. My opinion is, the holiday is the spirit of the holiday. It's not just confined to that 24 hours of the holiday. If you have to work Christmas Day, you know, if you have to come in and work Christmas, you should be reimbursed for your coming in and your sacrifice for Christmas Day for the full shift. Just because a couple hours of that shift happened after midnight, you shouldn't just subtract those 2 hours. But there's also the technicality of the holiday
It is
is
a
actually 4 hours.
technicality because
But-
of labor laws.
Yeah, but my belief is, you have somebody come in and work on Christmas Day, it shouldn't matter, that shift should be the Christmas shift. It doesn't matter if some of it goes on one side of the 24-hour
See, and
spectrum or not.
at that point, that's a policy decision. I mean, you can make that decision. I mean, there's the actual labor requirement, and then beyond that, there's a policy decision. And I'm assuming, is that not defined in the employee handbook right now?
No. And what's been done in the past is, if you're an employee, you get a regular 8-hour day pay, just straight pay, as though you were working. If you are, such as dispatch or sheriff in emergency services, you get the pay, but you get time and a half over that. So with the redirection of the pay scale, this was the first holiday that it really took effect. There's some pretty sizable increases in pay, which is going to affect your bottom line. So there's been some discussion as since it's not in the handbook, since it isn't specifically defined in the handbook, that's where Dispatcher Rarick's question came from, is what is the board's intention? How do they want that paid out?
My belief is the spirit of the holiday pay is, you know, to put it simply, you missed Christmas dinner with your family. Well, you missed Christmas dinner with your family, whether your shift ended at midnight or whether it ended at 6 in the morning the next morning. You missed. We're compensating them at a level because they missed a significant event in their family's life. We shouldn't end it just at, well, it's midnight, stroke of midnight. We end the extra pay. I mean, they're missing it. They miss it. And that's my opinion. You guys can make your decision based off that. That's my
I'd say
opinion.
if more of the shift is holiday than not, I don't think holiday. Or
Yeah,
you
and
could
I-
make it at the discretion of the department and they don't have to worry about it.
Because our shifts, unless we change something dramatically, our shifts are 7 to 7 and 7 to 7 again. So, I mean, you're going to have, you know, a large percentage of that being on the holiday, and you're gonna have the day dispatcher, his whole shift is gonna be on the holiday. So dispatcher A is getting 12 hours at holiday pay. Dispatcher B, who gave up and sacrificed just as much to be there on work that day, will only get a certain number of hours of his shift at holiday pay. And I don't think that's fair to dispatcher B. Now, again, I agree, if your dispatch shift time change was 10 o'clock in the evening, and they only work 2 hours on the holiday, and then the rest on the next day, the non-holiday, I would be sitting here telling you a different story. But that's, you know, you're looking at five hours, you know, almost half of the shift is on holiday. So.
Cody's got a good point, but the problem is we got to be equal across the board. So then the policy says 8 hours pay. If my guys go out and run snow removal, they're going to get that time that they were, say they run 11 hours, they're going to get that additional 8 hours of straight pay. But I see his point. Somewhere we need to separate that, whether it's just that day that we're going to provide that 5 hours for that one individual, and then that full shift for the next one, and then part-time for the other.
And see, that's another.
Salaries, and we can.
I agree, because that's a whole other can of worms, because on the same sense, I get upset that, you know, the guys who work, or people who work 8-hour shifts for the county, and most of my employees work 12-hour shifts or 10-hour shifts, but when we do the vacation time, say you get 40 hours of vacation, well, that's only 4 days off to my employees, or less than 4 days off. It's 3 point something for a dispatcher, while an 8-hour employee, that's a week off. So, I mean, there's a lot of those discrepancies we need to address in the new employee manual.
I think that's the issue here, is this comes down to
We
us probably wanting to really talk about revisiting
That's
Yes.
why I think we need to table this part of the discussion.
Right now, we just need to do the salaries, and we probably need to figure out before payroll what we're doing for the holiday, but
Payroll is already done
payroll's already done, okay, so,
for December.
okay.
Okay.
So,
Well, I guess, so you want to table it?
Yes.
Okay. But as far as the salaries, are you okay with the salaries?
I think we're okay with the salaries. Jim, what's your thought on the dispatch?
Dispatch is fine, because we just got our
The only
adjustment.
discrepancy I know is the dispatch director is low.
Do you want those at a classification 5 also?
I would, Rodney, on that point, I would have to agree with you on that, on the dispatch supervisor's pay scale. You know, you're comparing $33,000 a year is what Jim is making now. If I can say that,
The average is 37.
37. You know, you're looking at, you know, $4,000 something, $4,000
What we
pay difference.
did previously is we agreed to go to the 37 or the higher number, but we were going to split it over 2 years.
Yeah.
So that way, we hope to stay within budgets.
Yeah, and
Does that sound reasonable?
that sounds reasonable with the dispatch budget being tight, and if Jim is fine with that, if we split that over 2 years, I think that would be the prudent thing to do with the budget, because we already have the budget set in stone, and I can tell you right now, the dispatch budget is a very tight budget.
Okay.
So we'll work on doing that increase when we submit our budget requests.
For next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if there is a minor adjustment, I'm sure we can find it out of courthouse adjustment. Maybe even later in the year, you might show a surplus in yours, and we could shift it from you to them.
Yeah.
But it depends as the year goes on.
Yeah, and that's.
We can look at it.
And that's something we need to sit down and discuss, not at this meeting, but
Yeah.
the budget between the two offices and how we're going to report that next year. So get on the agenda early next year, and we'll discuss that.
So this is going to be split over 2 years?
The 37,
Yeah, 586.
do you want the pay scale just adjusted up to five levels? Or do you want
I think we should adjust it up to 5 levels and use that as a tool to move him up to that number.
Right, in 2017.
Yep.
Okay.
And use that as the medium that we use to do that.
Okay. And all other pay scales remain the same
All on dispatch.
on dispatch.
There's nothing further. I'm going to go back up to my office.
Cody, thank you, Beth. Thank you guys. Have a good time. I'm not a treasurer, and you can help me. Okay. The average is 39,691.
With the treasurer, that goes back to an elected position, which is different than an appointed position.
I'd say they need to go about 6% to get average too.
I agree. Rodney, what's your thought?
They need to go about 6% to get back to the average also.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we've got deputy treasurer. The average is 21.
About the same thing.
Okay. I don't see the average for working. Was Melvin going to be full-time?
She's accepted the full-time
Okay.
position at
Well, we
57.
don't have to worry about that.
I need to type up a new full-time pay scale. You had bumped her up to a level 2 as a part-time,
Okay.
and then she accepted full-time employment. So I need to come up with a scale
Right.
for a full-time person who is not a deputy. And I have the same situation in my office as well. I have a full-time person who is not a deputy. So looking for some direction on how you'd like to establish that.
6%.
We're kicking up to class 5, right?
Right, I think that's good. Bottom line, what we've been doing.
So, sorry, because of my hearing, when we decide.
I would like to have space to keep moving
Per
my
many
girls
people.
out.
That, if we, right
Because I
now,
feel like, they've capped out and then what do you have to offer?
Right,
to
if we
keep them,
if we do the 6% over the margin, and then we're gonna have to create a class 4 and 5,
And just
then
need,
you've got room for growth and reason to do better.
sounds great.
Okay.
and Dolores, I'll work with you on some job descriptions. And hear what a class 3 and a class 4 and 5 mean
Yeah, this is out of that, isn't it?
when I get to
It
redoing
is,
those.
but we can slowly get stuff back on course.
And,
Do you agree with that, Ron?
Pardon?
Do 6%, and then we kick it up to classification, so there's 5 classifications, so there's room for improvement. Okay. And Melvin is gonna be classification 2?
She is right now. I'm gonna start training her on some more new things, so after she gets trained on that, she'll probably get moved to 3. Right now, she's
so if I redo those at a 6% is what you want,
Yes, for Dawn.
and Melvin
And
on,
Melvin.
of course, this is a part-time scale. But if I,
She's full-time now.
Right. And then have the classification 5.
But we just decided that for December, she would be paid at her part-time wages, so we don't really have a scale for
Yeah.
with a full-time person.
Okay. No, she's gonna be full-time, so that there's not gonna be a fee
It'll
scale.
be 6%, right? over 2 years.
Well, it would be the same as that.
It'll be a classification too, but
Do
she's
you
gonna
want to
bump up
just-
to a 3.
I could multiply this out and figure, you know, like with Dawn, if you
Oh, I
divide,
see what you're asking.
if you divide the $24,000 by 2,080 hours, it gives you an hourly rate. So the reverse of that, you could reverse that and figure out what these rates are,
Right.
and then you can do your 6%. You can figure in your 6% and your scale.
Okay.
Is that
I don't know what you're showing him, but,
her pay scale?
You're
The hourly
using
pay scale and
Our
divide.
scale or Dawn's scale, you're saying?
Melvin's.
Figure it out.
She was gonna go use
So
this.
for Dawn's, when we enter in payroll, she has a base salary. So to figure an hourly rate to pay sick, personal, and vacation, we take this number and divide it by 2,080. Okay? So to figure out this pay scale, can you not do the same thing and go the other way?
Oh, to come up with the salary base.
The salary base, and then I can go in and adjust that by 6%
Yeah.
and add the 2 levels to it, and then I can show it to you and see if that meets your approval and give it to them and see if that's what they intended. Is that workable?
That was the other issue that I brought up at the last meeting and visited with you, is that we could move my employees from salary based to hourly based. I contacted all of the treasurers in the county, and I had 65 reply back, and there is no county that pays in-office help, whether they're deputies, clerks, whatever, at a salary base. They're all hourly wages. Only hourly wages that are paid in the county are elected officials. And I would like to see if I could move at least my department into an hourly wage rather than to a salary base. They're going to be paid the same amount, it's just that there are
I will say, I
times-
think this is a very big question that should probably be applied to many departments. And I think this may solve some of the issues we're having when it comes to holiday time reporting and pay and how to pay out holiday and sick leave time. I think this could actually solve a lot of issues. Ultimately, it's a policy call, but I wonder if this would be a better issue addressed on a larger level when we revisit the employee handbook. And I know we've been saying that a lot, and I think maybe we should probably have a serious discussion about making that a
Yeah,
priority.
I think we ought to hire the job done, because I think it's beyond our capabilities. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
And, you know, that's from the Austin Peters group, that was what they were bidding, was to come in and redo the policy handbook. There was a fee to redo the wage scales and redo the job descriptions. There were different rates for that. And a third party, outside party would come in and evaluate those and present to them for their approval. Since the Austin Peters group, I've also visited with another county that had another resource that if they want to utilize, I can check into. So I think that's kind of like the discussion on the overtime is paying at an hourly rate. I think that's a bigger issue today is for the pay scales, but it is something that definitely needs to be done, and it definitely needs to be looked at. Normally in January, Nicole, we have, our January meeting is the 11th of January. It's the second Monday of the month. And that is our reorganizational meeting, and a lot of reorganizing of setting commissioner dates and establishing banks and newspapers and reviewing the policy handbook is one of those items. But it needs to be updated. It hasn't been for several years, so. I need to give you a copy of the policy handbook as well. I don't know if you have one.
I don't.
Okay.
So where are
Could
we
you
at now?
just email me
Well,
a copy of that
we'll show
rather
treasurer
than
that
this
she was
full
talking
one?
about.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
I have a lot of corrections that I've been keeping, and even the former clerk, I have corrections from him, additions that need to be made, and then I've made my own notes also.
Okay.
So,
All it is your calculator.
Because ultimately, all of those sheets are gonna come to us to approve for next year, so. yeah.
right, when I get these redone, they're gonna come back to you for approval, and if there's something that you want changed, you need to let me know, and it'll be on the computer, I can go in and change it.
We got next.
So, what did you decide for the I didn't hear your discussion, Brett, on do the 6% on
Over 2 years.
the full, over,
As far as the hourly wage, 6%, then she's gonna go full-time.
she is full-time.
Well,
That's what you said for one.
okay, so well,
So just refigure these rates at a 6%, and then the department head can put her at the classification that she
yeah,
feels is appropriate.
right, okay with that, Doris?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. And then you take a look at this handbook.
Okay.
So, okay,
And on the deputy treasurer, is that adjusted at 6%?
yeah, I thought we
Will you
decided.
increase the level 4 and 5? Do you want the levels adjusted 6% on here as well? You want those adjusted? And then here again, that gives the department head some flexibility.
To increase them, yeah, we want 5 classifications
Uh-huh.
and kick it up. So we're gonna have this be the max, right?
Right.
Okay, so that'll be a classification 5. Give me that up.
Okay.
Can I see what that is?
29,812.50.
Can we,
What do you have?
I think we're all on the appraiser, yeah.
Yeah, I found it because that's what you get.
Okay, we're gonna have to kick it up because he is to leave, and I might have patience. Okay. Where are we at here? We had already discussed with the appraiser last time.
That was the tax
Right.
portion.
Uh-huh. 29,812.50.
Yeah, we just kicked her up.
Yep, we just kicked her.
No, not the appraiser. Not the appraiser, that was the register. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, we done it.
Yeah, you had done Amanda's,
Okay,
adjusted hers also,
all right.
and we had divided half of Bruce's salary and added it to what she was currently making. So hers, and this needs to be, it doesn't need to say contract on there because it isn't a contract. Bruce's was, but hers isn't.
I think that's the way the appraisers work, because we're on a 4-year cycle. So we have to renew with the commissioners every 4 years as appraisers.
As appraisers.
Yeah, it's a contract deal with the appraisers with the commissioners.
But currently you don't have a contract.
No, I'm deputy as of
Right.
right now.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, but we need to do a resolution also to get that cleaned up.
Yeah,
Right.
so as far as that, that's deputy. As far as mine, yeah, not appraisers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the deputy. On the deputy, the average is, I just kind of went through here. 32.5 is what I kind of came up with. We want to do 6% on that.
You also have a personal property appraiser.
In the system, there were different appraisers. There was like the county appraiser, there was a personal property appraiser, and then there was the deputy appraiser. So we just printed all the information for you to kind of sift through and see what you wanted to do.
You kind of do personal property and everything, don't you? You kind of just,
Well, I don't do oil and gas, she takes care of oil and gas.
okay.
And right now he doesn't do real estate either.
Right. I'm sorry.
Real estate.
Real estate.
Okay.
he'll take the debt entry on some of that stuff.
What do you see what I'm saying? Do you agree with that? We do this 6%. What do you think, Ron?
Move it to 5 scale, improve what's here. Okay, so
For,
that was how much?
We're gonna have to keep them both up to 5 scale then.
Right.
Well, how's that gonna work if, assuming Bruce resigns?
He will.
I'm pretty sure he is. I haven't got the actual letter, seen it yet, because that will, and then if you guys approve to hire me as the appraiser to fill his term,
Right.
then I guess we kind of, I mean, it's up to Eric, I guess, as far as how much more responsibility he's going to take on if he's moving up to kind of a deputy. And I guess that's some of my concern is some of those deputies have their RMA, that they're as skilled as an appraiser. I mean, they have all the schooling, they take the classes and that kind of stuff. So I guess that's kind of a, like Dolores was talking about with the schooling, that the more if he wants to take classes and learn more, then I feel that
What are
that
your
should.
thoughts on that, Eric? Or you're our IT guy as well?
Well, yeah, what are we gonna do with that? I mean, that's turned into a monster already.
Yeah, I know it has. We may have to, we're gonna have to discuss that at a different time with him.
To do what? Set it at a different time?
Yeah, we're gonna, because we've got him as IT, how do we do a fair comparison stuff?
Well.
for the IT, what was done in the past was a flat rate of $400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that wasn't susceptible to cost of living or anything. It was
Yeah.
just always paid out at X amount of dollars. And then being somebody that was already hired, they had their salary on top of that. This was just a bonus.
So
But it stayed the same from year to year.
What we're addressing then is the appraiser, your county appraiser's clerk pay scale. As right now, we got the number where you're at, and we've got the average. What do you guys think?
Well, I think we ought to adjust it up. Question.
Not adjust it up so it's supposed to put the average in it.
6%?
Well, perhaps the appraiser or the,
The average that I came up with is 32.5, but I bounced these two. I bounced off of these. It's not going to be real accurate because I just went. There's a 35,227.
that's the deputy.
Right? Isn't that what Eric is?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Amanda.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
32, and then 30. So I just kind of shot in the middle with two numbers, me and 32. I just kind of figured that probably 32.5 would probably be about the average. That's not
Yeah, it is averaged out right here. 32,749.
Okay, I was off.
So you're thinking of just adjusting these levels 6% and adding at level 4 and 5 for additional responsibilities?
What about you?
That works for me.
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of a confusing subject because we're basing the averages on counties that may not even have insurance, for
Right.
their employees. So I think we're treating our county employees very, very good.
So he's at level 3 with a 6% increase, and then we'll have a 4 and 5 too.
As he adds responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I'll work with you on what those level 4 and 5 jobs.
We need to figure out the IT a little bit more because that becomes more of a full-time position.
Yeah, it's only fair to the soon-to-be department head to nail that down and figure out where we're at.
Right. I agree. We'll need to address that at some point in the future.
Yeah. But right now, we also got a problem in that we're paying somebody for IT that's not doing it. And we have the discretion to reduce salaries as well as increase. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going.
So what did you decide with Amanda? Before I didn't have anything written down. What did you want to do?
Well, that will be, because once Bruce resigns, then I have to come in and pretty much sign a contract with the commissioners.
But that's their
I
decision.
think
That's what they're deciding. That's what I need to know how to type it up. Because that's what we're doing with these, is figure it out.
At 39.
Bruce hasn't officially resigned, so I can't officially,
Yeah, that was good.
The difference
salary.
Yeah.
So,
Or not?
I have to wait for Bruce to resign, which
Yeah,
I'm
we're
on the
leaving
agenda
it the same.
Thursday. They're just
We were leaving it the same.
Eric's was up and hers.
That's what the spaces are contract.
You're in, you
So
just didn't know.
when they apply, they work on the commission.
Okay, what do you got?
EMS director.
Okay.
Something have an extra copy?
The average across the board is 34,207.33. Now, if you look at the average, she picked out apparently the lowest counties.
Got to get out at 4 hours. I'm not
Oh,
sure
that's
what-
minus the 400?
Yeah, and it's still way down above average.
Way to hell of a...
Well, we do need to talk to him first before we slam him with that.
Well,
Well,
let's take
we're
it.
here to make decisions, let's make decisions.
But I do think
Okay.
it's your guys' policy decision about whether or not to do that without talking to employee ahead
I
of time.
would
And I
like-
think the important issue here is to remember, we're not setting, the way we should be looking at this, we're not setting employee salaries for the specific employee now, we are setting salary scales
The job
for
description.
the job description, whoever happens to fill that position. And to me, those are two separate issues.
Table it?
Yeah, because when I talked to him, he says that he's never agreed that he was going to do the IT. He said he'd help with the IT if need be. So we need to talk to him and find out on his job description would be fine. So we can table that till Thursday. Is that okay, guys?
Yes.
And then can you make sure he comes in Thursday?
He is on the agenda.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. He's got some
Custodian?
Custodian?
No.
If you look at the average
You're
down
already
here,
overpaid,
well,
I'm getting overpaid.
according to this, until you complain.
I'm not.
look at the average here on the bottom. It's 27,502. Did you see
But
where?
is that just the custodian? Because most courthouses have two employees. One does the yard and helps with the floors, and Goodwin, most all of them have two. And I do it all. So is there a separate yard person?
Yeah. 6%.
Until you
Is
get
that spread over, is that spread over 2 years?
6% spread over 2 years, okay.
That's what we've been doing.
So is that how you're doing all of them, 6% over 2
It's
years?
spread over the 2 years.
And then I,
Because of budget considerations.
yeah,
What do you mean by spread over the 2 years? So it's a
3%
and 3% this year?
and then
next
3%.
year? Or is the 6%?
Do you want that a level
6% each
5
year.
also?
Oh, okay.
6%
But on the, I
each
need
year?
That's what we
Because
agreed.
3%.
Yeah, I
We're
see.
making fives.
Yeah, she needs to mill levy increase 3%.
Everything, and
Lose
not
money.
everything. She needs to be level 5 because she's been doing everything for a
Yeah.
time.
Should automatically become a level 5. but she gets 3% this year and 3% next,
Okay.
so.
That sounds good.
So I just get 3% this year?
Basically,
is
it's
that-
what everybody else is.
Doing
That's
too.
why we're doing it for everybody.
And then on the part-time help, like when I go on vacation or I need extra help with the floors or something, what is it at, Deb? I think we're doing,
You know,
I think we can take that up at a later date.
okay,
Well, the other part-time people, you were addressing theirs.
Okay.
yeah.
You were addressing the department, other part-time people in their departments. You know what, I can print
It's
that out.
just really hard for me to get anybody to help
Gonna do
because
it,
most
let's
of the
get it
time
done.
it's 8:25.
Right.
And you're not gonna get anybody to come in here and scrub and wax floors, like, you know. But Ed wants to, but I said, no,
We
you
can't get anybody to get sink and lift in their insurance.
I'm on vacation,
Yeah.
but I will check it before I leave. I get a lot of crap, Nicole.
I'm
just-
picking up on that already.
Yeah, I'm
Do we need to add that to the job description?
Yeah, maybe we can add that.
Yes.
Thank you, harassment.
Oh, God.
So everybody, it's like, pretty much it's like 3% this year, and then another 3% next year, is the way I'm understanding. It's not, okay. So it's kind of like what we were gonna get anyway, because isn't what that,
No, you would have only got 3% next year. No guaranteed on what you would get the following year.
okay.
And
Because
I
for
don't think
2006,
inflation
how is
is
that
going to
gonna
come
get us up to
anywhere
the-
Yeah, I don't
near
understand.
3%.
Because hadn't you guys already agreed for 2016 that we were gonna get a 3%
3%.
already?
Across the county.
So it's basically going to be a 6%, 3%.
Isn't it a 6%?
Well, it would essentially, yes, basically, but for this, it's going to be on paper, it's going to say 3%, but you're also going to use that 3% cost of living increase.
Okay, okay, that's what I was confused on.
3% raise plus 3% cost.
Cost of living, okay. It's the chemicals.
I didn't touch that either.
Yeah, she know
Are
good.
you detoxing?
I'm detoxing from, yeah, toilet
All
bullshit.
Rodney, we already did Jeannie's last meeting, correct?
Pardon?
Jeannie Dunn's, we did the register of deeds, we did last time because she came in.
Yeah, the last month,
Uh,
so we can leave it safe.
Let me see.
Except for taking the 5 days.
Oh, except doing the 5-tier assess, thanks.
We did Maryland.
But we also did, I thought we also gave her Jeannie a raise.
Did we do Jeannie's also as well as Maryland's last time?
Not yet, no, you did not do, the part-time help there was adjusted to 10, 11, and 12.
Right.
And I printed it, it's over there for the employee to sign, and it will come back in here on the 31st.
Yeah, most everybody that comes in has the basic knowledge, it's not rocket science.
Oh, I know, he helps me too.
Yeah, but, so I don't use like the top one,
You want to
part-time.
go classification 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
can we do that?
You guys want to go classification 3 for part-time, which would be Don, because he does everything.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want a cost
Does
of
he?
living-
He drives semi for me, so.
Okay.
Okay, so we moved Don Gamlin to classification.
Are you going to adjust the cost of living 3%, about 6 of it?
I think we're going to have to.
That way, if Dawn can help me and I need to try to find somebody else,
It gives
it's
you
a
a
little
better
more
share.
incentive. It's just like,
Yeah. So what percent do you want that adjusted to? Five?
Yeah, we're going to do a 5 classification scale, but what do we want with the?
Oh, okay.
What do we want the max to
Well, I go from there 6%, the next one 5%, whatever, and then so much for
be?
95.
Okay. 6%, 6%?
So just
Because I mean,
adjust each one of these 6%, each one of those lines adjusted 6%?
Yeah, each one of the lines 6%.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
got it.
And and also picking up the class 3.
And Dawn at the class. Okay, thank you.
And then, what did you decide on
Different
hers?
was how much you're gonna get and what's something else.
Shelley, you were in 6%, basically 3% this year, 6%. just like
You agree with that?
Okay.
Yep.
Did you guys each get one for Dawn? Yes. All right, what are we on now?
I don't know really.
Register of deeds.
Okay.
Okay. We just increased Merriman's,
Okay.
so I think that ought to stay where it's at. However, the register of deeds, there is a disparity here. If you look at the average on the back of this sheet of paper,
We're gonna have to go up with her for 6% over two, get it there too.
6%
She woke
over
up
2
with-
years to get her up
She
to
woke
that.
up with a stomach flu
Oh,
this
goodness.
morning, so she was planning on being
For some
here.
reason she wasn't here.
Yeah.
But she did.
Yeah.
So we're gonna use this figure.
Okay, she's a little bit average.
Wait,
Okay.
so it's 39,
241,
241.
54 is the average.
Why don't we round that off to 42 and stop these lousy odd pennies? Over 2 years.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But now you're talking about an elected position again rather than an appointed position.
Right.
And she's running the re-elected salary right now.
Yes. So,
Oh, I see.
She'll be up for election next December.
yes.
So boost it up,
Or max.
First week elected.
boost it up.
Well, I think we probably should.
Okay,
So you're putting the re-elected at the 39,000, or you're adjusting, or what are you doing?
We're doing 52,561, up 6% over the next 2 years, which is going to help us get caught up with that. But she is under re-elected salary, which
So if she was reelected, does that new pay increase start the next year or when she's reelected? I assume it'd be the next year.
It's January
Every year.
11th
Okay, that's what I thought.
is when it starts.
she should technically be elected 3 and 4. She should be at 33.
And that was what her wage scale was signed at by the board when she took over her position. The wage scale that was signed put her in at that level. So that's why she's there.
Well, what do you think on that? Because it's hard to get a re-elected salary.
I'm willing to bump it all the way up and be done with it.
I don't care, you get with our budget and
What did you do with
Well,
the
I think
treasurer's
we have
salary?
adequate resources that we can amend that part of her budget.
On the treasurer's, it's the same way. It's an elected position, and you did a 6% increase on that.
Yeah, with the treasurer's, man, you've been treasurer 12 years. So once we're talking, yeah. Well, my thing is if we've already got somebody that's getting reelected, that's only, hasn't finished their first term, then how do you judge that? Because the 39,241.54 is probably somebody that's reelected. So I think what we need to do is definitely have the reelected salary come up to meet the average. And I don't think she's going to have any problem being reelected. We're going to get hammered by the public when it comes to paying somebody re-elected salary. So, I don't know. If you guys want to go ahead and bump it up, that's fine, but I just,
I'm willing to pump it.